Turn 'em up if you got 'em. Captain Colin Brock coming at you from the short and muddy. See terrain pass under you like that, you know you're not going to Monte Carlo. Everything in Sudan is red. After 6 months, you get sick of the red. But Sudan is in the red. That's South Sudan. And the pink is North Sudan, which is Muslim. And the South is Christian. And guess what? They don't like each other. They're separated by a demarcation line, you see there. If that's not a recipe for disaster, I don't know what is, but they're constantly fighting over the oil in the area of the demarcation. They kill everybody. Men, women, children, they don't care. Dirt, dirt, and more dirt. This was, wow, my home for 5 months of my life. That's our living area, those little shacks in the line of trees there. Allow me to digress for just a second. We were headed for Johannesburg, had to stop over in Cape Verde, had oxygen problems in the cockpit. They let us off and let us take a shower in one of the hotels nearby. Then it was on to Johannesburg Airport, which is spick and span, at least for now. This is the funniest guy I've ever met in my life here. I'll tell you more about him later. That's at the hangar in Lanseria, South Africa. That's a Rhodesian Ridgeback laying on his back and glad to get the hell out of Zimbabwe. Met some great people. South Africa is unbelievable. Went on a safari by car, and me being an old country boy, I figured these were just like big cows. They ain't gonna hurt you. Now that was taken about 10 feet away. He was turning toward me and he meant business, and this guy coming up in his car told me to get my ass back in because he could pick not only me up but the entire car and throw it over his head, and he was right. Zebras, great story. I asked some South African friends why zebras were never used as farm animals. He said because they do not have the stamina. They give out after a while. These are ostriches, of course, just out there running free on a game park. Beautiful scenery. Woke up early one morning. You can see there, nice pool at the hotel. Great food, unbelievable. But Lanseria is a real pretty place of rolling hills north of Johannesburg. Not only that, but beautiful girls, employees, all were very nice. I love these people. That's in a bar there with some ladies. I bought them a drink. They really appreciate it. That's just a pretty girl. She's an employee. Some friends of mine sitting around a table around the fire. It was cold. It was, I think it was May. That's me and the bartender. Pilatus Porter, PC-6, I think it's called. Great short-field aircraft. DC-3 turbines, two big turbines. I think they're Dash 67s. But all good things come to an end. We got off at Jomo Kenyatta Airport in Nairobi. Had a long walk across the tarmac, but we beat the storm in. Nairobi is hanging in there so far. It's a prosperous city. Coming up is Captain Hugh Pryor at the East Africa Aero Club. He's a book writer and legendary African bush pilot, except for when he landed his King Air gear up. He said they're a new design. They're supposed to be like that. He introduced me to Scotch, which I now love. This is inside the East Africa Aero Club with Hugh and a friend of his. I'm sorry I forgot his name, but Hugh is a part-time Anglican priest, and he's shown here giving his blessing to a tree after he's had a few. The guy on the far left is named Johannes Pilep from Papua New Guinea. The funniest guy I've ever met in my life. Everything that came out of his mouth was funny. It doesn't look like it here because he's sizing me up. The only thing is, you did not want to get between him and a plate of food. The man loved to eat. He didn't care what it was. He would eat it. In the background of that Tusker beer is the professor. You can barely see him. The professor and P-Lamp did not get along. Yeah, Kenya's nice, but you got to keep everything under lock and key. This is the professor at Wilson Airport, Nairobi. He's telling the refueling crew how to refuel. He knows everything. Early one morning we had to leave Nairobi to go to Sudan. It's raining like mad. Had to go to Wilson Airport, Langata House, and check in. It was real crowded, as you can see. But guess who's going to Sudan? Girls. NGOs. What do? I have no idea. I never saw them do anything but walk around and look kind of dazed. I kind of liken them to the UN. They drive around in their trucks all day, air conditioners on, and drive by starving people beside the road and blow dirt all over them. Just about, well hell, not just about, they are worthless. You see lots of funny sights, like this guy stuck in the ditch. He was playing with his laptop with his motor running. You can see the bubbles. Coming up is Captain Glenn Mati on the right with a guy named Kaku, both from South Africa. I'd got my camera ready and got this quick shot. Looked like both of them were thinking to themselves, what the hell are we doing here? I know the feeling. beer bottles for a sidewalk and a Sudanese in the background picking his nose. What more could you ask out of life? You could ask not to be shot down, that's what. My hat, dark blue when I got there, gray and red when I left. Now, if you're not going by commuter with the girls, you're going by our Twin Otter. And you get to ride with the professor. I'm letting the professor play captain because it makes him feel good and he gets to tell everybody what to do. But right now he's letting our mechanic, Barry Mayer, fly the airplane, which of course we're not supposed to do, but in Africa you get away with everything as long as you got a bottle of Jack Daniels or a carton of Salem or Marlboro cigarettes. I mean everything. But see, here he's telling Barry Mayer, our mechanic, and a damn good one, what the instruments are saying, what they mean. Barry knows this airplane inside and out, but that don't stop the professor. He spotted me in the back. Can you believe this guy? Look at it. But we're on our way to Loki. It's nicknamed Loki. It's the Kenya checkpoint for outbound flights going into Sudan. And I got this maniac. He's going to fly us in there. And you better bet your bottom dollar I'm keeping an eye on everything he does. He don't know it, but I am. Here's Barry Mayer, great mechanic, great friend. He told me one day I was his favorite captain. I think he said that because he knew I would fly with anything. It didn't matter what was broken. I have a lot of experience with that. The PT6, Pratt & Whitney, it inspires confidence. Just a great motor. It holds 19. We put 2 in the back in Chad. We didn't have the restrictions. But here's Barry again. That's a good shot of him. These South Africans, I can't say enough for them, are really, really great people. And their homeland is being torn apart right now. White farmers are being killed. Hardly a peep about it on the news. The Marxist government will eventually run all the whites out, and South Africa will go the way of Rhodesia. That is now the shambles of Zimbabwe. Yeah, it's pretty sad. On the way from Nairobi to Loki on the Kenya-Sudan border, we crossed the equator. You can see that north. All zeros on the north. If you look closely at this bottle, it looks like it says ISIS, made by ISIS. Africa's Rift Valley flows off to the right. Can't leave Kenya though without talking about this guy. Each floor has a guard. This guy was about 6'6", real friendly guy though. Really like this guy. Can't leave South Africa without mentioning this guy either. His name is John Early, served with American Special Forces in Vietnam. Great guy. He was captured in Sudan by rebels, Sudanese rebels, and he spent about 6 months in the care of the Sudanese rebels. I asked him one day what he ate during all that time. He said goat meat, and he said I'll never eat goat meat again. He also fought with the Rhodesian Armed Forces, the Seal Scouts, I believe. They're similar to our special forces when the Rhodesians tried to keep their country from being taken over. I wasn't paying attention and I happened to look up, and the professor was about to run us into a mountain. Like I said, you had to keep an eye on him. Landing in Loki, 4th of December 2008. The professor did a good job here. We kept it under control. That's a prominent landmark out there. He's given Barry directions on how to line up, and Barry's flying with 2 hands, but that's okay. They all do. If you look to the extreme left of the video, you'll see a twin-tail aircraft. It's called a Sky Truck. It's made in Poland. You can just see the tail of it there. And they had about 3 or 4 of them on the left side of the runway. I guess they lost the contract or something and they had to park them. That's all I can figure. But we're coming into the reception area for the border. Leaving Loki, there are no more mountains to hit, at least not any big ones anyway, at 10,000 feet for the professor to run into, so I sit in the back and enjoy the scenery of beautiful southern Sudan. Oh boy. If you get seasick, let me know. Meet Jerry, also from South Africa, an expert in all-terrain driving. Let me tell you, he can spin that steering wheel like a top. He knows how to avoid all the holes, or most of them anyway, and avoid getting stuck. Speaking is Captain Colin Brock of South Africa. One of the finest pilots I've ever had the pleasure to fly with. This guy could fly a kite and make it look professional. But you meet all kind of sights. You get to see a lot of sights on the way to and from the airport. Like this vehicle here that got stuck. Still had the motor running and the driver was in the seat playing with his laptop. I spent many a night after eating on a chair looking over the river here, just contemplating what the hell had I got myself into again. Quick story, this is my friend P-Lamp's house. On the left, the mess hall is to the right. It's about 20 feet away. He makes sure that he's close to food. But one day, I locked him in his house. And at dinner time, he said, Bill, after he tried to open the door, Bill, what are you doing? Let me out. I said, P-Lamp, it's time to eat. P-Lamp, let's go. Bill, what are you doing? It went on and on for about 10 minutes. He finally called up base manager, and the base manager had to open the door for him. He was pissed at me. Now, there are some things I like about this place. Not a lot, but a few. See that fire burning? I love that. The simplicity of it. You got some garbage to burn, you take it out to the road, and you burn it. The flags, they're there to warn the people of hot coals. Now, you see the smoke, you would think they would get the idea that it would be hot. This is our all-purpose pond here. It's used for everything, from drinking water to taking a bath to washing your cars and trucks. Drove by here one day. A guy was laying down in the dirt with a Coke bottle under his head. You met him earlier, but this is my good friend Glenn Matee, South Africa. Here Glenn is. He's real enthusiastic about everything today, as usual.
Supercharged.
He's one of our more energetic pilots. How do you look at this fucking place? How do you get energetic about this fucking place? I mean, you can't even walk without tripping on something and busting your ass. I hit that air conditioning platform one night with my head. You talk about hurt. I cussed to high heaven. On something and busting your ass. Ah, God. This place would be condemned in the U.S. as uninhabitable. I'm serious. Yeah, that's Glenn. He'd laugh at anything. We fucking condemned. Yeah. Now, you'll probably get the impression, what's he complaining about? Look at this place. He's got it made. Well, stay tuned. You notice the floor? Everything is done on the floor. I do have one table. Most of it's on the floor. And this is my abode, my humble abode. And there's my prized possession right there. I was going to make a shrine to it, but I decided not to. Yeah, I like to chant like the Hare Krishnas. And I was going to make it into a shrine, but I couldn't find any candle. It'd be too much trouble, but it's deserving of a shrine. The only problem is the electricity does not work. It goes off 30 to 40 times a day. I shit you not. And this is our crap house over here. And this is one of those showers that have the instant hot water. We actually have a hot shower when it works. That's the key word, when it works. Ours is 220 volts. A soldier in Afghanistan got electrocuted with one of these. If you knew the electricians here, the same ones who turn the electricity off 20 or 30 times a day, I always had worries whenever I took a shower onto one of these. Oh, they fixed my light. They came in and fixed my damn light. I can't believe my light's been out for about a week. They came in and fixed that fucking thing. It's not too bad. The problem is that you can't depend on anything. The problem is that you can't depend on anything. Nothing ever works consistently. I went outside one day screaming. I couldn't take it no more. It literally blew my fucking top. And I'm sure all the camp heard me. I was saying, yeah, I couldn't let that be aired. It was bad, really bad. Even bad for me. Shit, motherfucker, cocksucker. Yeah, even Glenn came out of his room next door. He heard me raising hell. The whole camp went quiet. Glenn was laughing his ass off. This airstrip where Glenn is standing, it's called Boer Airstrip. It's where American Osprey aircraft came in to rescue some Americans during a flare-up in the Civil War. Shortly after we left. It's funny how they hang things on the wall here, if you'll look. Okay, the level of my head is about right here. Now, the hang things, there's a picture. It's actually a fairly nice picture, but they got it hung almost all the way in the ceiling. You know, they just have no idea how things are supposed to be done. You can see the ceiling is right there. The ceiling's about, I would estimate, 10 feet tall. They got it about a foot from the ceiling. And then over here, right across the room, they have another picture, and it's up near the ceiling anyway. I guess they expect everybody to be about 8 feet tall. I don't know. There's a lot of shit like that that's kind of funny. Come here. Speaking to you. This is the professor. He's at my door right now. He's about to give me some orders on what I need to do. I just described it in my room to everybody.
Okay. I'll speak to you afterwards.
Now, this guy has dual citizenship between Israel and South Africa. And I think I figured out the reason why. Because I asked him one day, did you ever fight in any of Israel's wars? And these are his exact words. I'm not gonna fight in any of their fucking wars. God damn. A great patriot he is. So anyway, now I figured out he's got that South African dual citizenship, so when Israel calls him to fight, he can haul ass to South Africa. This guy was something else. One final thing. Would you believe this guy is flying 737s now? I think for an Israeli airline. But this is who you're trusting your life to. Him and pilots like him. I talk about him a lot, but he was with me on some polio vaccine deliveries. You can see the coolers underneath the guys, and that's the horse they use to deliver it. But he was a good guy. I liked him. Now Pete Lamp, the guy on the left, he jumped my ass one day. He said, "Bill, why you call this man professor? He don't know shit." He was serious too. He wasn't joking around. Pete Lamp and the professor did not get along at all. He just had no use for the professor. I told Pete Lamp, you have to understand American funny things, that when you say something, it means the opposite sometime. That didn't... Needless to say, that did not compute with Pete Lamp. He just didn't follow that line of thought. This is a guy named Kaku. I forgot his last name. He's not a pilot, but we let everybody fly. This is old Glenn sitting in the back. He's looking out the window at how low I'm letting Kaku fly. He's acting like he's laughing, but he told me later I was letting him fly too low, which I was. But this is a road going from from Wow Our home to a wheel about 80 nautical miles away. And Kaku, he's got this red shirt on. I think it's the only shirt he had, because everything in southern Sudan is red, and we got enough red. But you can see here, I had to agree with Glenn. You can see the goats hauling ass. We're right at the treetops, but I was keeping an eye on him real close. Now here's Glenn. I guess we switched seats because here's Glenn. That that cover, that cardboard cover there, I made that, and the mechanics thought so much of it they painted it black so it looked official to UN people. But that's Kaku coming into a wheel with Glenn helping him. At least I hope he is. Call airborne from the wheel, 5-4. Good? Good, yeah. This is our man in the wheel. Good man. He takes care of us. Does all the paperwork. Handles all the tough stuff. There's Idi Amin right there. He didn't die. He moved to a wheel. This is Glenn. I'm kind of letting him handle everything because I'm going home, or I thought I was, fixing to be in for a big surprise. But this is our UN passenger and cargo representative. He's checking names. People will lie to get on the plane because it's Christmas. Transportation's scarce. See this guy here with the cell phone? Him and another guy were trying to bullshit their way on the airplane. What it is, they're wanting a free ride. It's difficult. Transportation is difficult because of the roads and nobody has money. And our base manager, you'll see him here in a second, he gets peeved at them because he knows they're full of shit. Now you can get hijacked. It's serious stuff to let somebody on there that ain't supposed to be there. Now you'll see a guy come in from stage right. He's gonna get real pushy here and shove a phone in this guy's face. He's not our base manager. He works for the UN, and he's a traffic controller, I guess you could say. And anyway, he's going to shove a phone in his face, and our base manager don't like it. I'm keeping my recorder down because I don't want to agitate the situation. He's got enough to worry about.
Good. Who's good? Hello. Hello, is it Ali?
Long story short, the guy never got on. It all worked out, but not for him.
Yes.
When it's multiple stops, you got to really be careful you don't leave luggage at the first place that needs to go to the second or the third or the fourth place, or cargo or whatever. Quick story on this old guy here. He got on a short sleeve jacket. How you like that? But he came in on a motorcycle escort. He's the governor of Lakes State. They call it Lakes because it has a lot of lakes. That's what I like about Sudan. They're practical. But anyway, he took the time to have a picture with me, and he had an old 38. It was a rusted 38. We're supposed to take guns off of people and keep them in the cockpit. And I was going to let him keep it, but the professor, being the ass that he is, said no. So I let the professor take it from him, which pisses me off to this day. If P-Lamp knew about that, he'd really be pissed. Captain Mati, Glenn Mati, taking off from a wheel in the Twin Otter. There he is, all serious now, which is good. He's loads of fun at other times, but when it came to flying that airplane, especially in situations like this when you have cars and people crossing the runway, he was all serious. Got nothing but good to say about old Glenn. There's downtown a wheel right there. Marketplace is here. That's probably a marketplace right there on the right. You'll find open air meat, flies, incredible amount of flies, and the smell that you would not believe. Now, one day, Glenn and I were coming back from somewhere, and I had a bright idea. He was flying, and I said, Glenn, let's go up to, let's make it to Mount Everest. And he said, "What?" I said, "Mount Everest." That's him right there. He's trying to act like he's delirious from the altitude. But anyway, I said, "Sir Edmund Hillary climbed it by foot without oxygen. The least we can do is fly up there 27,000 something feet and say we did it. If we pass out, plane will go into a spin. We'll recover at a lower altitude and pull it out." He wouldn't go for it. So here we are at 18,500, and he's already starting down. That's that magnificent PT6. Incredibly reliable motor. That knocking you hear, it's about to drop a valve. Yeah, I laugh and joke like it was a lot of fun and had a blast, but all in all, it wasn't. Yeah, boy, let's take a knee and protest. We got a lot to protest about in the U.S. We should listen to the NFL when they take a knee. We're suffering through an era of complete stupidity in the United States. I don't know when it's going to end. I don't know if it's going to end. But I just can't believe what's going on in the United States. If people in the United States could go to some of these countries, spend some time there, they would see how good, how excellent they have it here in the United States. What really made me mad this year was the NFL and their coaches taking part in their so-called protest against, I don't know what the hell they were protesting, but it was the most ridiculous shit I've ever seen in my life. I was going to add some inserts over this, but I wanted it to hit home. This lady has nothing. This is her home. Some bags and some kind of a roof, and no hope whatsoever. Her and hundreds like her. We just have no idea how good we have it here.
Now who's this?
Yeah.
Moses.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is Moses. He was a good guy. He was our maintenance guy on the airplane. You know, just washing, cleaning type work. I really liked him. Some of these people, they get next to you after you spend quite a while with them. And I often wondered what he's doing now, where he's at. When the UN moves out, oh man, I don't know what the hell is going on. I mean, it's bad enough with the UN. But I don't know. He's just a good guy. When I left, I gave him $20, and I thought he was gonna start crying. But things get to you after a while. They really did.
How you doing?
That's good, man.
You like working for Barry?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
No, you don't like Barry.
Why?
You don't like Barry? He's no good.
Like a bird on a tree, I'm just sitting here. I got time, it's clear to see. From up here, the world seems small. We can sit together. It's so beautiful, you and me. We meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free.
Don't get me wrong, I'm not making fun of the Sudanese people, even though it may sound like it. I've got a lot of respect for them. They get along with nothing. And you know, if we were in the same situation, we'd be out there in the water with that guy. That's why I say we got a hell of a lot to be thankful for in the United States. You just never know until you really experience something like this.
From a distance you can tell. outdoors, forever free.
Glenn, I ain't forgot you. It's coming. I know what you want. Bill, what the hell, man? That's my book if anybody wants some further adventures on the wilder side. It's on Amazon. Expect part 2 in about 9 years. Realistically, about 3 months. This editing system, I gotta get a new one. It's pitiful. I hope y'all enjoyed it. I really did. I know it got kind of gritty there and rough, but, you know, that's the kind of life it was. That's no excuse, of course, but that's me.